Sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a diamond ring. Well, it's all right, even if you say you're wrong. Well, it's all right. It is all right, because you are comfortably zoned with me, the Zigzag Man, in Alameda, California. And I am on with a terrific guest today, back zoned with me, a return guest, Mr. Fritz Peterson, former New York Yankee, Cleveland Indian. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Zig. How about yourself?
Oh, couldn't be better. I'm delighted to have you. Just had an interview this morning with a mutual friend of ours, Marty Appel, who is a Yankee historian and your old friend from your days with the Yankees. And I'm happy to have you both as regular guests on the show.
Cool.
How you been? How you getting along?
Doing well, Zig. I've got a doctor's appointment at the end of this month because my little PSA readings are going up a bit, and they're going to maybe put me on some different meds. But I'm not concerned about it. It's just that you live with the program, whatever the doctor says, and go with it. Right. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Okay. Well, I want you to hang in there, and I love your attitude, and you're a courageous guy. We've talked about your Yankee experiences, and we've talked about the fact that you're the pitcher with the lowest ERA to ever pitch an old Yankee Stadium. And can't have a show pass and not make note of that, because that's terrific. You've got a book coming out, you got a movie coming out, you got all kinds of stuff going on. It keeps you young, doesn't it?
It keeps me young and also nervous because I have so much to do right now. I've been out east here for a week, and we've both been going to some minor league ballparks as well as the Yankee Stadium and signing the new book. And that's really exciting to see what the people are doing, how they feel. And it's just, in fact, Marty Appel is the one who named that book. He's the one who told me to name it When the Yankees Were on the Fritz.
So, great
Marty, I owe a lot to.
Yeah. Great title. You had a picture you reunited with Roy White the other day.
Yes.
You had a picture on Facebook of
right.
you two together, and you coyly you had a picture. You were just joking together, and you made reference to the fact that he might hold some grudges. He's glad he doesn't, about what you wrote in the book about those years. Did you portray him in a way that might be somewhat unflattering, or what was that about?
I did, because I was trying to tell the truth through the whole book. I love the truth. And Roy is a wonderful guy and a good friend, and it was hard to write the things I wrote. And we actually straightened some of those things out the other day when my friend Tony Fika took that picture of Roy punching me in the chin.
Right.
And as far
with
as
a big
Roy,
smile, with a big smile on his face, and
I know it. Well, when he reads the book, he probably won't be smiling, but I'm sorry for that. And I learned a lot of stuff through this book that I've been working with, these issues that in those days when I went back in my mind to see what happened to our team, during those years, I kind of told what was happening with a lot of the players, not to belittle them or anything, but to just point out that it was harder than people knew to win ball games in those days. And it was, with Roy's part, he was playing back so much, and he told me the other day that he had a lot of ground to cover. I didn't even think of that. And I told Roy that I wished he would have played way in, and then if balls went over his head, I don't care. I like to play, I like to take chances. And he said, if you would have told me that, I would have done it. And I believe him. He's a great guy. Yeah, and I hope when he gets finished reading it, he's not going to hate me, because I kind of straightened it out during the last chapter in the book about what I meant. And I had been blaming him and Horace and Jerry Kenney for many, many years and was very bitter about it. And as I was writing this book, it became clear to me that I should have said something. And here I am sitting back and getting mad of things I could have changed, and that would have been asking Roy to play in. And which would have saved
that's a life lesson of communication, that getting it out.
Exactly. Good point.
It takes a lot of anger out of the equation, and you feel better. And sometimes you get things out, and it blows up in your face. But at least you got it out.
Expected it. Yeah. My friend Tony Pica was with me that day that he took that picture, obviously, and he didn't know how Roy was going to react. But Roy hadn't read the book yet, so it might have been different had he read the book. But I hope I explained to him enough about taking some of the responsibility for those years on myself, because I could have done something about that, and I didn't do it.
Right. Well, a lot of things you did, so you can't beat yourself up too much for the mistakes you make. You just got to do the best you can and live with the results. And
there you go.
That's what I like about you. Hey, would you indulge me a little bit? You on two levels. First of all, what do you feel when you go back to a minor league park? You obviously came up in the minors, and and then I'm sure when you're going through your trip as a big leaguer, you almost forget your roots a little bit.
Exactly.
And then when you come back looking at the minor leagues later on, what memories did that bring up for you?
Quite a few, but oddly enough, not a ton, because the ballparks that I visited, the minor league teams, were just like major league ballparks now. I remember some of the places we played that was like sandlot baseball, and it was like Sunday baseball that you'd have in the little towns around you. And going back, seeing their clubhouses and all that, I can't believe it. It's like they're in the big leagues already. Wait till I get to the real big leagues.
You know, I was the tops rep for the California League and the Northwest League. Some of the stadiums, like you say, in High Desert, for instance, Lancaster, built beautifully. The only thing missing is an upper deck. Everything else, am I right?
Yes.
Everything else is first class, and it does include the locker rooms and what have you. What was your first day in the minors like?
It was really
when you came up, when you were signed.
Right. I flew in to meet the team. This was Harlan, Kentucky Yankees, and I flew in and met them in Bluefield, West Virginia, I think it was. And it was the first real plane ride I had taken, and so I was kind of a rookie at everything. And they had given me cab money to take a cab from the airport to the hotel. And I got to the hotel, and I called the room of Gary Blaylock, my first manager. And I said,
I remember that name. He was an outfielder.
Yeah, neat guy. Yeah, neat guy. But I called him, and I said, Mr. Blaylock, I'm here. And he said, what's your name? And I said, Fritz Peterson. And he said, what position do you play? And I thought, oh, geez, I'm nothing again. And so I said, I'm a pitcher. And he said, right or left-handed? I said, left-handed. He said, all right, come. The team is leaving the hotel in a few minutes, and come with us. We'll get you your gear and your uniform and all that. So right away, I knew I was in trouble, and I was. I had a bunch of flame-throwing kids from all parts of the United States, mainly California and Texas and Florida, where they play baseball 12 months a year. Right. And I really went backwards myself, because I got into a fastball contest out there on the field with these guys. They didn't have radar guns at the time. But I went backwards for a while, trying to strike guys out like they were. So it was a scary situation, but it turned out good. And like those clubhouses I mentioned to you before, little teeny things like in high school. And now
you're in close quarters with these guys. You're on buses. You are literally a family for 6 months out of the year, at least on the major league level. who did you get along with, and who didn't you in that first year?
Well, Zig, I got along with everybody because we were all in it together, and I had never, of course, seen any professional baseball before. And like you said, we're family. And the first time one of my friends got released, which means kind of fired, they call it giving him the pink sheet. It really hurt me because we had become friends. He was Luke Lamboli is his name, and he's in the book. But it reminded me that, baseball isn't just a game. It's a business. And from that standpoint, things got a little cold in my mind because the family thing kind of went away for a while because there goes one of my friends out into the real world, and I'll never see him again. And I haven't yet, but I'd love to. I think he's still alive.
This may call for a reunion.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you looked them up on the internet at all? Facebook, Twitter?
Yeah, I have. I haven't specifically, but I did pull up his name one time and found that he's out east somewhere. And the same with this other guy by the name of Bill Henry, who was a left-handed pitcher. I'd like to see him again. He had the best pickoff move I've ever seen, and I can guarantee you every first runner at first base was going to be out if they took a 2-foot lead off or not. But I'd like to see Bill Henry, who I nicknamed Uncle Ned, because his head was so big, it was like a Neanderthal man. But he took it well. He could really chase girls, too. He taught me a few things, even though it didn't work, because I was a nerd. But that man could hustle.
He could hustle. Fritz.
I guess I hustled, too.
A little bit, huh?
A little bit, and everybody caught me.
It all catches up with it. Look what will become of you. And then, you've been with the same woman for 35, 40 years, and you're happy
41.
with it. Yep, that's what became of you.
That's it, and we party every night.
Right.
So I guess Uncle Ned is, I think I overtook him in that category.
All right, my man, that's the way to go. You overtook him in a number of categories. I want you to come back with me just a little bit to when baseball wasn't a business for you, and that's when you were a fan of the White Sox growing up. And I'm specifically referring to the '59 Sox. Obviously, they won the pennant, and they had what I considered to be, growing up, remember the Yankees had Richardson and Kubek, a double play combination. There were others around. I thought Louis Aparicio and Nellie Fox were the two best.
Oh, yeah. They were.
Keystone Kids. They were the Keystone Kids. Am I right?
Yes, you were. Absolutely.
And your careers, when obviously you're younger, you were a fan of those guys. Now you're up in the bigs. You're facing the White Sox. I think Aparicio was gone by the time you came out. I think he went to Boston.
He was at Baltimore, and he was actually
Baltimore.
the first hitter I ever faced in the big leagues.
Was he really? Oh, wow. Now,
that was funny.
That had to be a trip. I mean,
I
had to grow up idolizing. You remember what happened in that first at bat?
I sure do. It was a base hit, and he scored. So that was the first couple of categories. But in the end, we won. So that's all that counted.
Welcome to the bigs. Did you get to talk to Fox and Aparicio over the years?
I did, and I got a picture with Nellie Fox that I always wanted to when he was a coach with some team. And, of course, he died early of cancer, and that was a shame. But at least I got a picture with him. And with Louis, I got to know him. I saw him at several shows afterwards. And as I said, he was the first man I faced, and he got a hit, and he scored. And the last man I faced ever in baseball was another wonderful, great player and a Hall of Famer, Brooks Robinson. So I saw that question the other day in Do I Remember who my first hitter was and my last hitter, and I didn't. I had to look it up. And they coincidentally are both Hall of Famers, so that was kind of neat.
Both Hall of Famers, and again, what gets me is that Aparicio was the shortstop on the team that you rooted for growing up. That was a very interesting team. Jim Landis was a terrific center fielder.
Mm-hmm.
You had guys with you had Rivera, you had just off the top of my head Earl Torgerson, Klazuski, but what stands out was that Sherm Lawler was the catcher.
Yes, he sure was.
And I don't know if you were even aware that Lawler originally came out of the Yankee organization.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, the Yankees had maybe Trianda. They had Triandas come out of there. They were supplying the league with talent. The Yankees were so rich in those years, and that's why if that puts it all into perspective how great they were, and they had these two dynasties going, and now the Fritz years comes up and the Horace years. Had to be doubly frustrating from that standpoint. You thought, well, coming up in the minors, I'm a Yankee. We're winners. We're going to be in the World Series every freaking year. It's like a birthright.
That's right.
And then and as a competitor, I could appreciate how the frustrations and how writing this book had to be incredibly cathartic for you.
It was. In fact, the evolution of me having been so mad at Royal over the years and then figuring out what it really came down to, I could have changed that. But it was really nice to go through all these years one at a time. I started from the first day I was in baseball and met Mickey Mantle to the last day I was in baseball and was traded in a 4-player deal on our team to Cleveland. And in between, it was fun, so much fun, that I wish I could go back and relive them all over again. But it was also, as you mentioned, disappointing in that the first year I was there, we came in last place for the first time ever as a New York Yankee franchise, being called the Yankees. But you know what? It didn't bother me at all because I was in uniform. I had pinstripes on, who I became, forever indebted to. So the White Sox, in my mind, went away, but the Yankees were there to stay. Hey, that's a good one.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Yeah.
What was Cleveland like for you?
Cleveland was like going. Yeah, it was like going back and playing summer baseball again compared to the Yankees. And then in the real world outside the stadium, people even washed your windshield, which they didn't do anymore in New York. So it was a culture shock, but a fun shock. And oddly enough, Gabe Paul, when I met with him before I got traded, I said, Gabe, I know you're looking around for a place to trade me to, and there's 2 places I won't go to. One was Cleveland, one was Philadelphia. And he patted me on the back, and he said, don't worry, young man, we wouldn't do that to you. 2 weeks later, I was on an airplane with 3 other teammates heading for Cleveland. So that's how the business part works.
He looked you in the eye and told you that. Don't worry, young man.
He did.
Put his hand on your shoulder and everything.
There you go. And that's why Bill Veeck told me they called him the Smiling Cobra.
Did you? Bill Veeck was one of the first books I ever read. Veeck is in Wreck by a guy named Liam. Taught me a lot about the inside of what goes on. You got a chance to meet Bill Veeck.
I did.
And what was he like? What'd you come away from that meeting with?
He was a real man. Here the guy has a wooden leg, and he's not afraid of it. He'd sit in the stands and sign with his wooden leg sticking out, and just wasn't afraid. He loved taking chances. He loved being an innovator, which he was in baseball, and he was a really good guy. I was with him the last part of my life in baseball with the Chicago White Sox because the Rangers had released me earlier that month in February. So the first team I called was the White Sox because of Bill Veeck. And they had a good manager, too, and his name was Bob Lemon in those days. And
Oh, yeah. Bob Lemon was Yankee
great
manager
memory.
later on, and 20-game winner in '54. Tragically lost his son in an airplane accident, and I mean that's got to put a little dent in the rest of it from there on in. But Bob Lemon was quite a pitcher in that, along with Feller and Mossy. And all those guys. What a tremendous team. Yeah. And incidentally, the Yankees, who in 1954 lost to that Cleveland Indian team, to break the 5-year streak of winning from 49 to 53, they had won more games in that year than they won in any other year under Casey. And they lost by like 10 games because Cleveland won 114 games or something. But Bob Lemon, great names come to mind. So he's your manager.
And he wanted me to make the team because he was a great drinker, and he knew I was too. So he was looking forward to me being on the Sox, but I couldn't make it.
Okay. It's amazing what goes into people's. He's managing a big league team, and it's final cut down day. You think, well, potential. You don't want to ruin the kid. You want to. This guy's hanging on. No, he's a great drinker. That's beautiful.
That's true. Absolutely true.
That's great.
And,
that's great.
I asked Herb Score one day. I asked Herb because he was with him all his career. And I asked him if Bob Lemon drank, and he said, "Drink? He spilled more than you'll ever drink in your life." So that was fun too. So I was looking forward to being on that team.
Hey, Fritz, you're one guy. You have fun every day of your life.
I do, and I think you do too, Zig.
Yes, I try to anyway, and this is, as usual, fun for me. And you coming back on a regular basis is really trippy for me because you're the kind of guy that we'd sit down and we'd be friends. We'd be next door neighbors. We'd be friends all the time. You're a man's man, and you respect the game that you played, and can't ask for anything more than that, Fritz.
And Zig, you're a good man. You yourself are a great interviewer, and you get it. You're not just talking there. You're bringing it all in as you're hearing and talking, and you bring out some really great points that I haven't really heard from other broadcasters or program people like you. You're great.
Well, thank you. I'm glowing, man. That makes me feel good. And good. I did something about the introduction, the Bob Shepard introduction. My dear and great friend Tally said, pick up the pace a little bit. Here it goes. I'm just going to pick it up. Now batting for the Yankees, number 19, Fritz Peterson, number 19. How's that?
That is great. That is great.
All right. So get me in the movie. Get me a cameo part in the movie. I'll do Bob Shepard.
Love to. Love to, Zig. All right,
you know
man.
where I am. I'll get an after card. I'll be down there. I'll work extra. I'll mop up. I'll do it. I'll just so I can say, now batting for the Yankees, number 19.
That is great.
Peterson, number 19. Hey, great. I'm gonna be wary of your time. I know you're all over the place. I'm gonna close the episode the way I do 9 out of 10 of them. I'm going to implore you and the listeners to keep your dreams wet and your humor dry. Keep your kids out of military recruiting stations and off the laps of clerics wearing dresses. And the whole family will be enriched. But the whole family, everybody will love you for it if you just do that. Life will be great again. Thanks, great. Fritz. Adios, everybody. You're the best.
Hey, buddy.
Thank
you so much. Thanks for promoting my book, too. Okay, good.
Anytime. And you come back and tell me how it's going in every which way.
Okay. Excellent.
See you soon.
Will do. Thanks, Zig. Bye-bye.